Hi, Nancy Burt-Preece here. I wanted to share a patriotic card since this is 4th of July. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. This is fun. I'm using sweet sorbet and blueberry bushel and some of the glorious gingham paper. So this one is flat. I'm using directions from Karen Titus, but I've seen these for a few years now. So I'm not sure who originated it. But I like that I'm using this glimmer paper, in color glimmer paper that carried over from, 2022 to 2024. And this is sweet sorbet. So your card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Sweet sorbet, which is 4 by 5 1/4. White, basic white, which is 3 3/4 by 5. Then this blueberry bushel is a 3-inch square. This is a 2 3/4-inch square. And I just thought, since it's kind of patriotic, I use this Celebrate from Share a Milkshake. And, you know, if you have people that have birthdays around the beginning of July, it's fun to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do two different kinds, the flat kind, and then I'm going to show you how to do one with some different designer series paper where it is more of a, what does she call it, a pinwheel. So I've kind of got this one all prepped. So I am going to fold this glimmer paper, and I'll be using designer series paper for the next one. But I'm going to fold this, and then I'm going to fold it the other way. So I'm just basically folding it in half both ways. Why do you do that? Number one, it'll be covered up. But number two, it's a great way to line up your triangles. So the first one I'm going to make is what she calls a quilt card. And it is flat. So you don't, it's probably the easier of the two. I'm going to let my people know at my classes. We are not making this one. We're going to actually make with using designer series paper. And why do I use green glue? Because I got that crooked. Let me move it over a smidge. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and you can do these like I might decide I want the smaller part on the top, and I'm going to do this part over. I guess I'm going to do it. So we'll look at it. This one, we're actually going to fold it over. So let's start with a triangle with one long side to your right. There's probably a name for that triangle, but I'm not a math teacher. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put just a little smidge-a-rooney of glue in here to hold that. Okay, then I'm going to go to the next one. Make sure that I have the right paper. I have it. I want the small check to the top. I'm going to fold the corner over. Oops, don't do that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive down here to hold it. I tried doing it without adhesive, and it kind of was not the greatest. So use adhesive. Trust me, it's just better. Okay, making sure that this straight edge is to the right, and making sure I'm using the correct side of the designer series paper. I do have some dimensional paper that I'm going to use in a class, but I had to think so hard on how to cut it so that I don't, things are going straight. So I would recommend, it took me a long time to figure it out. I would recommend not using dimensional paper. It's just so much easier. Let me, and I'll show you in a minute, because I didn't show you how I made these squares, or these triangles, sorry. So I'll let that sit for a minute. What I did is I took a piece of, what are these? These are supposed to be 2-inch squares, and these are, yep, 2-inch squares. I put it in my paper trimmer at an angle, point to point, and just cut them in half. So simple, okay? Next, the hardest part for me is seeing that across square. So you can do different things. You can put a little bit, a line. I tried putting it on here. No, don't do that. That was not good. So I'm going to make sure I know how I want this to line up. I want this one to be on top of this line. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive just in this little square. So where I'm putting that, and then I drop it on my table. Great. Let me get that off. You probably can't see it, but I still can. So I'm putting that right there, pushing it down, and bringing it right back up. Pushing it down again. This is the hardest one, I think, with the glimmer paper, even though I love it, because it is hard to get it to really stick. So I'm just putting adhesive there. Now this is going to line up right underneath this one. And we want it to go underneath the square a little bit. That's a cute look. See, once you get it started, life goes better. But trying to get it started sometimes is the trickiest part. Okay. And you can even put in a little more, however much you need to hold it. And then you just come around your circle. I pre-stamped this one so you could see what it looks like. And I'm going to add this to the top. And then I'm going to add one of these, golly geez, what are those things called? Well, I know they're gems. Let's look at our gem in the catalog. Do you have your catalog handy? If you're a person that makes videos, I try to have it all the time because I usually forget what I'm doing. So on page 140, I am using the Iridescent Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And I am using the largest one. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. And there you go. So this is what she calls a quilt card because it's flat. I think I like the flat ones the best because I think it lines up better. But that's just me. So there's our patriotic flat. And let me show you. I'm just going to show you on this because I haven't finished this card yet. So the excitement is I'll have to post it in the comments and show you how this one turned out. So let's see. I'm going to I think this is such a smart. This is a 2 3/4 square, which she folded in half both ways. It just helps you know, and it doesn't show. You can't see where I put that in half. So that's what I like about this. This time, so I am going to make sure these are all going the right way. Oh, see, this is the tricky part. These are great. This is going that way. I must have another one. I was cutting a million of these, and it's very, 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 very tricky. And that is, okay. And then I cut them too big. I love when I do stuff like that too. It's like, oops. So I'm going back through and recutting. You've probably never done anything like that. Now, wait a minute. Which one is it? That one. Okay. So this one's going back in the other package. That's what I mean. Using a directional, your mind has to work really hard. Okay. So now, I think I want it this way. So what she said is do not bend it. Put just a little tiny bit of glue in the corner and just wrap it around and hold for a second. And don't, see, I'm not flattening it. I'm going to do that and see if it'll hold all the way around. And see if it'll hold correctly all the way around. That's always an exciting part too. Okay. Then I'm going to make sure my flat side's to the right. And I don't mind if it has some stripes and things. This is supposed to be a fun paper card with all sorts of good stuff going on. Doesn't make a difference. The only thing is you don't want that extra glue seeping out. And that one is kind of a little bit of a lot of glue. All right. This one, side to the right. Don't bend it. Just kind of fold it over. Put that little bit of glue. It's funny because Karen Titus said, well, when I use the glue, I get it all over. Yep, me too. But for this kind of a technique, it's the best way. It truly is to get that to be the right thing. I'm going to have this correct. Fold that over. I'm really okay. See, those two will match. And I'll show you how this one is going to look. Like I say, check the comments, or maybe I'll even be able to post it at the same time to see what the card actually is going to look like. And I don't worry about that middle part because that's a lot of glue, but I don't usually worry about too much of the middle part because we're going to be covering that right up. Okay. So now I'm sticking to everything. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with this, but I'm not going to push it down really hard. I'm going to just kind of set it there because I don't want it to flap over. Because this one comes next, I want it to be, you know, like stripes and not stripes and all that sort of stuff. Putting just a little bit, but I don't want to push it down because I don't want it to be flat. And this one goes down. They're always meeting in the middle. Sometimes you can even sneak your finger in there. Or take your pick tool. Oops, let's do the flat one. Heck, what am I doing? I'm all over the place today. Okay, there we go. There we go. Just kind of put that little flat one in. Now I think I want this one next, okay? So I'm going to put this around like this. This one's going to come up. I'm not going to push it down, but I do like using this in here because then you can kind of push it down. I have not got the new parts of the Take Your Pick tool, but boy, that is on my list. Did you just see that Sarah had a video recently? That is awesome, showing all the different things you can do with the new parts of the Take Your Pick tool. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to get that lined up as close as I can. Try not to get it to stick to my fingers. Use my Take Your Pick tool. Kind of push it down. And of course, I will do something. I don't know if it'll be this yet or a different gem. You'll have to wait and see my vision, and we'll see if I like my vision. I don't know about you guys, because sometimes I start something and I go, well, that was my vision, but I don't like my vision. I was going to, I'm cutting as I'm talking, I was going to put this on the Berry Burst, but I don't know if that's too much Berry Burst. So what I'm doing for my class is I'm going to have a bunch of these cut triangles. I am going to have those in the envelopes, And then I'm going to let them pick their base colors and their other colors. And so what I did is I cut a bunch of these 3-inch squares, and then they can pick. Now, I already made that decision, but let's say they wanted it on blue or they wanted it on the green. So they get some choices. And then these are the 2 3/4, sorry. And then I'm going to have a bunch of these, and I'm going to use the color in this wonderful designer series paper. I'm going to have Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm going to have Azure Afternoon, and I'm going to have Misty Moonlight, and probably Lemon Lolly. And people can just have a blast. I'm thinking that this might look better. You can see I don't have a piece cut. See if I can get a scrap here of Lemon Lolly. That might really perk it up. And then, because I don't want to go too crazy, sometimes I give people too many choices and they are like, oh, it's too much. So I'm thinking that I'll have those squares, and then I'll probably have it on a thick basic white background. So this one I used a cardstock, and this one I'm not sure yet, so check the comments. So I hope that you have a happy 4th of July with your family, and thank you for watching. I'm sure most of you will be watching on the replay. I know I would be, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.